Keep it going for Bryan Berlin. Come on up, Bryan.
The summer before I went to college, I went to go work at a summer camp up in New Hampshire. And I wasn't always the most adventurous kid growing up, so this was kind of a big deal for me. Like, part of me just wanted to stay home in New Jersey with my friends, but I knew that I was like going out into the world and had to kind of like experience the adult life, and going to this camp was sort of that first step for me. And you know, I get there and I know like a handful of people, but everyone is kind of new to me, and there's a lot of counselors. The first week is staff week, so the campers aren't there yet. We're meeting each other, and I'm trying to make a good impression, and I'm making some new friends, and I actually like meet somebody I'm kind of interested in. Her name's Jen, and you know, she's like 2 years older than me and at least like 5 years more experienced in life than I am. And so like I'm very intimidated by her, but I also am like trying to figure out if she likes me and like what her deal is. And as all of that's happening, I'm also like learning how to be a counselor. And I was on a unit for the oldest kids in camp, and they would go on hiking trips during the week. So in order to prepare the kids for those trips, we go on a trip as counselors to learn how to lead these hiking trips for the kids during staff week. And so for me, it was kind of this nice break of getting like out of my head for a second with Jen and worrying about that because she wasn't in our unit, and we went on this canoe trip for an overnight. And the unit leader picked the easiest trip that you could go on at my camp because he didn't want it to be a strenuous thing. He wanted us to learn. And so we go out in the canoes at like 11 in the morning. And by like 12:30, we're at the island that we're going to be at until the next morning when we go back home. So we have hours to kill at this island, and it's a very small island. You could walk around it in 5 minutes, and we're the only people on it. And we have lunch, and it's a really nice day out, so people are like, oh, let's go swimming. And so we start swimming in this lake, and, you know, it's like this really nice lake, and it's a nice day. And my friend Spencer, who's my closest friend and really the only person I kind of know in this group, he decides to up the ante a little bit, and he takes off his bathing suit and starts skinny dipping. And I'm like a little bit stressed because I'm like, Spencer, this is a Christian camp. What are you doing? And there's like 20 of us there, guys and girls, and like right away, like half the people just kind of join in. And I'm like, what? Okay. And like I've never skinny dipped before, and I'm very nervous and a little bit overwhelmed, and I'm trying to like size up the scene, and kind of like one by one, more and more people are like taking off their bathing suits and just being naked. And I'm like, okay, like I guess this is part of like the adult experience of life. And I take my bathing suit off and I join in, and so we're all like naked under the water, and like, you know, it's the middle of the day and people are going by in boats waving to us, like having no idea what's going on under the water. And you know, I'm getting comfortable, but quickly, like, naked skinny dipping turns into, like, naked rope swing. There was a rope swing on the island, and this was, like, a new level of stress for me because, like, not only would it mean, like, me getting out naked, but, like, I had never seen a girl naked in person before. Now there's, like, tons of them naked rope swinging, and, like, I also don't really rope swing a lot, and, like, that was a whole other element in this. And so everyone's jumping and having a great time, and I know that it's coming, like my time is coming, and I gotta do it because like this is what you do as an adult, I guess. And I kind of like get out of the water and I scurry up as quick as I can to the top of the rope swing, and I'm up there and I'm looking down like, oh God, and everyone down there is having a good time, and I'm like, I'm gonna go for it. And I do it, and it's great, you know, like it wasn't as scary as it seemed. And eventually we kind of got tired of like being naked out on the lake and went back onto the island and got dressed and had dinner. And like after dinner we still had like hours to kill before going to bed. So like what you do when you're college age kids and you don't have alcohol or drugs around, we started playing a game of truth or dare. And it was like a pretty tame game at first, as most games of truth or dare are, but it escalated kind of quickly. And before I knew it, like the dares were like, oh, the two of you just like go off into the woods and whatever happens, happens. And like you do a naked dance around the fire. And I was like, I think everyone in the circle could tell that I was very overwhelmed because like all of my dares were very tame. Like the craziest thing that I was asked to do was be involved in a 3-way kiss with these two girls. And I don't know if you've ever tried to kiss two people at the same time, but it just doesn't work out logistically, and it's very unsexy. But that's what I was involved in. And kind of why all this was happening, I was texting Jen back at camp, and she was like, oh, how's the trip going? And I was like, I have no idea how to explain all of this over text. But, while we were talking, we made plans to hang out the next night. And I got back. We all went to bed that night after 4 hours of playing Truth or Dare. And woke up the next morning, canoed back to camp. And, I hung out with Jen that night. And I still, wasn't sure what she thought about me. And, the old me would have just questioned it for months. And then nothing would have ever happened. But I felt like I really grew a lot in 24 hours. And... we're hanging out together, and I was just like, fuck it. And I kissed her, and she kissed me back. And that was the start of one of the best summers of my life. Thank you.